today is that how we have to prepare for the field works, how to conduct the field works, and what are the expected problem we may face from the field. These are the things we are going to discuss. See, how you will prepare for the field work. See, before going to a particular area, because I have already told you, while developing a proposal and all, I have told you, while selecting a particular area as your area of study, you have to go through complete literature, and with lots of justification, you decide a particular area which you are going to select for your study. It is not that simply you are part of that village and you will take that village. Suppose you are part of Rourkela, you will study in Rourkela. You are part of Patna, you will study in Patna. It is not that I am from Uttar Pradesh, I will make study only in Uttar Pradesh. It is not like that. It should be whatever the topic you selected, whatever the area you have selected for your study, that should have a logical argument behind selection of the study area. So once your study area is finalized and you are now all set up with your questionnaire and everything, and you have already tested your questionnaire at the field, so you are now going to the field to do your field work. So all this, the moment you are preparing to the field, during the time lots of things comes to your mind and lots of issues raised in your mind, and how you will resolve all these issues and how you will overcome from all these issues, that is very important also before moving to the field. So while you have already selected an area, before going to the field work, what you have to do? You have to do more extensive literature review about your area. So you collect some secondary information about that locality, about that area. You collect more information from some of your friends or any local administration whom you know, or by through email, even if you are unknown to them. So what is my intention here is that don't listen from here and there regarding about your field. You try to get some kind of authenticity about that location where you are going to do your field work. Here you see what my intention of telling is, you should be very much careful before going to the field work, because sometimes what happens, suppose you are working in a particular area which is highly dominated by the tribal communities, very interior regions, so might be it is highly infected by the Naxalites. So there, some of the kind of misunderstanding may happen in your mind, and you may develop a certain kind of fear from the very beginning before going to the field work. Sometimes what happens, people develop a kind of wrong notion that yes, this area is very affected by the Naxalites. If I go, there might be a problem in working. See, it is not like that. You see, because your interest is different, then Naxalites' interests are different, the villagers' interests are different. So why should you are bothering about, means what are the other things are there? Yes, only one thing you have to keep in your mind, because as you collect more and more knowledge about the field, you will develop a much consciousness while working in the field. You should not unnecessarily drag yourself into different kind of conflict. Even I told the peoples also, while going to the for a field work, you should be much more conscious about the political scenario in those regions, because sometimes what happens, whenever we interact with the peoples, we discuss with the peoples, sometimes we discuss different policy programs, and in our discussion what happens, sometimes we may raise some of the issues. We may be highly political neutral in the field. We should be highly political neutral in the field. But what I'm telling, sometimes what happens, while we are discussing, debating and all, so some kind of issues comes, but until we are having much more idea about the field, their political scenario, their factionalism in the field, we unnecessarily drag into the conflict. So that's why we should refrain from all these kind of things, which I am going to tell one by one, and at the same time we should have a much kind of knowledge about the field. because unless and until you are having the knowledge, you will be in trouble. So that is highly essential. See, and ask the key informant about the setting and the people. So what I'm telling, I see you might have some kind of contact before going to the field. So you ask them about the settings and the peoples. If you need some, if you need some more basic information about a particular village, about a particular locality, no. So all these things you have to prepare. So here. Uh, Something you have to keep in your mind, that while you are preparing for the field, while you are going to reach at a particular location, you have to contact the gatekeepers and establish initial contact. What I'm telling. So here, so you have to start contacting local administration. Through local administration, you have to contact the local sarpanch, the panchayat levels. Through that, what will happen? You can establish the initial contact. I'm not telling about right now the rapport. Rather, you have to establish the initial contact. Sir, I am so and so. Would like to do certain kind of field work relating to my uh, research study, relating to my dissertation, relating to my PhD thesis, relating to my project, whatever. Or I'm working in so and so project. I would like to go to the field. Can you just help me? So that what will happen? You can establish an initial contact with the local administration and the serpent or the local any kind of persons who are the local the village chief and all. So see, you may not get an access to the village chief from the very beginning, but you can get an access to the local administration, and through their local administration you can reach fast at the sarpanch and try to have an initial contact. Nowadays the mobile phones are available. Before reaching at the field, you can have a talk to the also them through mobile phones. You can get the mobile through of sarpanch from the local administration, giving your proper identification. So then what you have to do? In every level, you have to cover your identification. In every level of your field work, you have to introduce yourself with a proper identification. You should not give something hide to the public. See, your intention is to do the research. Your intention is to collect the information which is required for your research. You are not doing something wrong there. So that's why your identification should be completely communicated to the peoples of different levels, starting from the local administration, that then the sarpanch, then at the grassroots level, the villagers. All these things have to be very clear. Subject don't know you are a researcher. Subject might act more naturally. See, you are a researcher. Sometimes what happens, the peoples at the village level, they may not aware about what exactly you are doing, what is your duty. But anyhow, even if they want to understand the researcher, you just tell them, I'm just collecting the information for the betterment of your village, so that you develop a confidence in the minds of the peoples. I'll come to that when I'll discuss the rapport building and all. So you see, you should the first, you should have the issues will come, the ethical issues. While you are doing the field work, you should be very much careful about the different ethical issues in the field, that how you will deal with those ethical issues and how you have to overcome from all these issues. You should not ditch the people, you should not violate the rules and regulation of the regular rules and regulation in the village. So, and you should not hide something from the people, and you should not see. Sometimes people narrate so many things in front of you, but you should keep it confidential. You should not hoard them by disclosing their views, because the moment you disclose the views of, suppose you interacted with the X and X is told, sir, I'm telling it very secretly, because if somebody will come to know that I know these things, then it will be very problematic. So you should not reveal what X has told to Y. So that's why what I am telling, you should be very much careful about the ethical issues in the field and what to do and what not to do. Then the second one is very logistic issues, which we'll discuss a little later. Then the third one is the legal issues. The legal issues, say, what I'm telling, you should not drag yourself into any kind of conflict, in any kind of problem which will address a legal problem in the field. So you should be very much careful. You should respect the village rules, regulations, their kind of mentality, their traditional rules, regulation, and unless and until you respect their traditional rules and regulation, honestly will invite the legal conflict. Either it is a traditional legal conflict, or you can go for a kind of statutory legal conflict. So what I'm telling, you should not drag yourself into any kind of conflict. See, here I'll come one by one. Here you see, subject, no, you are a researcher. Pure ethical, logistical, and legal issues will come. Subject might be more inclined to reveal sensitive information. Subject might feel intimidated. You see what I'm telling here in all these things, that you should keep your identity very clear to the people, establish a confidence in the minds of the people, so that the people can reveal some sensitive information to you, which should be kept in confidence. So subject might feel intimidated to you, because until they develop a confidence on you, they will not disclose. So what I'm telling here, then what we do? So first I'll tell you the what exactly the problem you will feel, the logistic issues and all. Then we'll go in details. See, assume that before going to the field, what are the major issues come to our mind, and how we can overcome all these issues in the slowly. Sorry. So you see, before going to the field, what exactly the major things will bother us much? Anybody? Before we start to the field work, what exactly bother us more? If you are going for a longer time field work, tell.
Sir, how we will stay, where we will stay, the sanitation facilities,
Yes.
all these, and the availability of food.
Stay, then sanitation, then food, all this. Then anybody else?
So also the how people will react to us, like will they give any legal information, or like will they hesitate?
Information shout, whether I will get or not.
Yes, sir.
Sir, people will cooperate or not.
Okay, that is same thing. Information shout or cooperation, whatever, same thing. Then anything else?
Sir, communication also.
Okay, means language.
Yes, sir, language, and also our transport and communication system.
Okay, language and communications. Okay, language and communication means transport and all. Language
Yes.
and communication. Okay. Then anything else? But you know everything. I'll only to make it very systematic. Tell. But some of you have already little bit experience, and and even if you don't have an experience, while you are thinking of going to a particular very interior area and staying for a longer period, so you don't know anybody there, so what kind of question will come to your mind, and before going there, and how you prepare for that? So that is my concern only. What? Tell. What next? Anybody else? Suppose you don't have any experience, I'll just tell you have to go tomorrow to some field and you will stay there for 2 months. Then what should be your reaction, and how? What are the major issues will come to your mind first?
Sir, what kind of information that we want to extract from them? Like what kind of exact questions we should ask from the people so that we get the exact answers, like data what we want to retrieve. Uh, we, that is the one major thing कि लोगों से interact क्या करेंगे.
Okay. So if I want to get information, what I will do? Okay, good. And anybody else?
Sir, culture may be different, which might give cultural shock also.
Okay, cultural shock you are telling. Okay. Okay. Then anything else?
So also the people might not be like comfortable with us if it is like very rural area, and if we are going we are from urban, like they might think like they may not be like more comfortable with us.
Okay, people may not be comfortable with you.
Yes.
People may not be comfortable. But why you are not thinking other way? You may not be comfortable with them.
So because we want the information, we will go to any extent to get the information. So we can like we can adjust. We can't be really comfortable, but we can adjust in order to
You are telling,
make us.
okay, you are telling you can adjust, but they may not. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any other issues you people are missing? Very, very serious issues also in the field. Okay, tell other issues.
Sir, any cultural differences may come as a barrier in
Cultural
getting
differences in what sense? Cultural differences in what sense?
maybe
I'm writing all the points, whatever you are telling. Cultural differences. Okay. I'll explain all the points. Tell.
So cultural differences I can include like in rural areas they are like more stereotypic, and like religion matters, caste matters, and even gender too matters sometimes.
Okay. Cultural difference in the sense of caste, gender, and then religion. Good.
Religion.
Okay, then. Hmm.
So I
Other-
think
Who is speaking?
Asruha.
Okay, tell.
So actually, what I have faced in field, like I went to the official and he was not giving us the data that I needed.
Ah,
So he started talking about the general things that was not needed for me.
okay.
So it was like he was reluctant to give the data, but he was telling those things, those are not related to the subject.
Okay. Data collected, not related to the subject. Okay.
Yeah. So like I
Sir,
asked that for water related data, but he was telling about his state. So it
Okay.
was like different from what I was intending to get.
Okay, good. So, anyhow, so anybody else? Swagata was telling.
yes, sir, there may be class of ethical values.
Class of ethical values. What do you mean?
Sir, like the values we have learned in book, and we might get something really different in the field. What we have studied, the scenario may be completely different, and there might be some changes.
That you cannot tell cultural ethical values. You mean that the pre-idea you have about the field might change all of a sudden. Okay, so that is your main concern. Okay, so
Yes,
means
sir. Yes.
you got some literature that about the idea about that village, or the moment you reach there, if everything might change. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
okay, so anything else? I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story so that you can understand, and from my own experience of doing field work. See, when I was a student, uh, I was just preparing maybe around exactly maybe 18 years back when I started to go into my field for doing PhD, and I choose to work in a very interior region of Odisha, that is undivided Koraput and Rayagada districts. As most of you might be heard about the Koraput, which is most interior region in the India, specifically famous for its poverty and tribal peoples, and then Naxalite. So many issues are there. Well, you ask any issue, all will get the issue there. So I was just preparing. I was not having much exposure to that area earlier. So I just uh, not having any kind of experience of going to that area earlier. Then I packed my all the luggage. Then I was having an advantage that I was having a uh, junior whose father was in the bureaucracy in the district. So I told him that I took the that I think that Hirakud Express something from Bhubaneswar to Hirakud Express or something. I took that express and get down at the Rayagada stations, and it was heavily raining. Time was around 3 to 4 o'clock early morning. I reached there. So there, you see, please remember the story which I am telling. You can understand exactly the problems in the field, and which will back again and will try to fit all these things. See there, what exactly happened? The moment I get down, it was heavily raining and all, but fortunately, my junior was at home and he came with his father's official vehicle, and he accompanied me in his home, and I was having very kind of good time in the morning. We're having good breakfast and all, lunch and all. So afternoon, what happened? Afternoon, his father took me to his office and we had an interaction. The local block development officers, they came to the office. Then as he is the boss, he instructed to the local block development officer, that video, to take care of myself. Then I was feeling very happy that anyhow I got a good connection and I can do the field work very well. So that was my happiness from the beginning, that I was having some kind of attachment I got. And specifically, my junior's mother also told to his father that special care should be given to me. So then, because I was very thin, very young, and also I was a little bit fear that because going to a very interior region, specifically in Odisha, generally we have a feeling that I belongs to northern Odisha, and going to the southern Odisha, which is very extreme to us, because if you see from my village to that field might be around 800 to 900 kilometers, and we have in Odisha we have a different kind of perception to that area. But anyhow, in spite of all these things, then I reached the block development officer took me to my field, and in his own official vehicle. Then when I was in the official vehicle, I was feeling myself as a king, that anyhow I got this kind of opportunity to go to the field with an official vehicle and all. But anyhow, the moment I reached there, then the officers arranged a guest house for me, which is called Irrigation Bangla, and then I was allowed to stay there. I arranged some food outside the markets, and the moment we reached there, it was heavily raining, but fortunately we had some food in between the roads. And when I reached there, so then I found that there are very rare houses having the electricity is on, but still with a confidence, I get into the house, open the lock and enter. Then the officer left. Then my journey to the field started. There, on that night itself, what I found when in the around early morning, because I have a kind of habit of getting up very early, around 3:30 to 4 o'clock every day. So when I get off at 4 o'clock, then I found that there is no bathrooms attaching to this. Then I have to go to outside looking for there is a bathroom, but I have to go outside. So when I opened my door, I found that 2-3 bears are sleeping in front of my room. In the first night itself, in the first day itself, I was completely shocked, and I was not expecting that this will be the situation in the field. First week, somebody was telling that, means what you have not expected, something maybe come in between. So how to react? Because I have never expected that I will come across this kind of situation. Then immediately I shut my doors and I was inside. Then I was thinking that when the morning will come, my pressure, everything gone off. Means then morning, then I called my father, and my father told me that, means I was not having a mobile. I just went outside. There was a landline connection. I called to my home through landline, We are not having mobile during the time. I called to my father and all, then through landline, and he told me, you don't wait for one day, you back. Then I told, if I'll back, it will end my life, because I have to again work for one more year to find another area of study. Because I have already decided to work here. If I'll change, shift my field study area, field location, again it will consume my 1 year completely in my career. Because selecting an area is not so easy. Then the next morning, I went to the market and started looking for an accommodation. Because I was completely, I didn't inform to any officials that, because I thought that, okay, their duty is over and I should not make them troubles. Because I came here to stay and to do the field work, I should not always make them in trouble. So they have done their duty, so I should not disturb them. Then the next day I started searching for my accommodation. Then fortunately, I got an accommodation. And what the accommodation? I'm telling, and I'm not telling the story, I'm telling a kind of case. You think that I'm telling a case story. From there, I'll ask lots of questions. See, then the moment I stayed in I met some people and they came to me directly and told, sir, we heard that you came here for certain kind of evaluations of the projects on irrigation management in this area. And sir, you can stay happily with us. We have our NGO did the irrigation project in this locality, and you can stay with us. We have excellent accommodation facilities, so you can stay in our office. We usually never stay here. We stay usually at Bhubaneswar, but sometimes we come. So we have all the facilities there. We have a kitchen, or we have a stove and all. You can stay there. Then the moment I went there, and because I was looking for a kind of, because I went to very small area, small locality, there I won't have any hotel facilities. I only can stay somewhere in somebody's house. So there I stayed there, and fortunately I got a good friend there. There was a health worker, he was also staying there. So I got a good company and I stayed there. Then I started my work. What I did from the very beginning, I started, because I have not yet finalized my field, my villages where I have to work. Then I started searching the villages as per my objective and all, because I reached at the block levels, and from block I have to go to the interior regions. Because I don't have much idea about the village immediately, I cannot shift to them. So then what happened? I started contacting the local leaders who are staying there, because they have much access to the people. I started contacting the local MLAs and MPs and all also, because I can get the more help from them, expecting that. And then I went to them and met them and discussed. So they extended all the support to me. They told, okay, you are, because I was fortunately known some civil servant earlier while studying at Hyderabad University. So I got some contact of local MLAs and MP directly from those civil servants, and they had written a letter to them. So I just showed the letter to them, and then I established my little rapport with them. So then after 2-3 days, when I was looking for a village and I was every day going here and there, walking, there was no such kind of, because I was not having much, because during the time our fellowship was very less. I was getting only 6,000 fellowship. So surviving with this 6,000 fellowship in the field is also very tough. We won't get a single coin apart from that fellowship. And we were having a very good kind of things that if some X will get scholarship, then 4 or 5 people will depend on him also, because that time getting scholarship was very tough. So there, what happened? So then I have no option of hiring. I have no money to hire the vehicles. I have to walk down from very long, every day 10 to 15 kilometers. I have to walk to search the village, to interact with some of the peoples, to finalize a village. Then in between, once in the early morning, I was in the house. I was just got up early and I'm just standing in front of my house. two people came in a bike and they called me that Anna is coming. And I was shocked, who is that Anna? I was not aware about who is Anna. Then I was very popular in the University of Hyderabad as an Anna. Then I told, who else Anna is there? I'm the only one Anna, how come another Anna is here? So then they forced me that you have to come with us. Then I called the local MLA. Then I told somebody came with a bike and forcing me to go, and Anna is called. He didn't reply me anything. He told you go. I was still having a lots of fear. I don't know. They are the two unknown peoples. But you see, I have no option. If I deny them, they may create problem for me, and I have to leave the field. Then the old man who was staying with me in that room also, I asked him. He also remained silent. He told me, you go. Then I went, and when I went to the very inside the forest and all, I found that they are from People's War Group. They asked me, what for you are here and all. And they had a very good interaction with me, and they told, we are extending all the supports to you as long as you are working here as students, and if any problem you contact me. That gives me also much confidence to work. And from the very beginning, the fear which I had towards the Naxal and all had gone. But they completely extended their support, and they told me whatever the things you need will help you. Then you see, then the moment I started roaming from here to there for selection of the village, I was doing the research on Pani Panchayat, which is called Participatory Irrigation Management in Odisha. Then the people started calling me in my name. They forget my name. They don't know me. Who are my? They started calling me the Pani Panchayat Babu. I was popularly known as Pani Panchayat Babu there. Then what happened exactly? You see, sometimes the local NGO people who are there, who were usually staying at Bhubaneswar, used to come sometimes. I also started because they are belongs to my age group, so and they were having a bike. So sometimes I took the help of them and started roaming here and there, because I am also very bored there. What I'll do? So because they belongs to my age group, I also started roaming with them here and there. Sometimes went to the market and all with them. I'm coming by phase, means giving a case study. So then the next day, what happened? So I was thinking that then I started searching the house. I finally selected some of the villages, which is around 15 to 16 kilometers far from that location where I was staying. Then I selected the villages. The moment I selected the villages, I went and had an interaction with the local sarpanch, then the village chief. Then I approached them that I'm looking for a house to stay. The village I selected was having around 90% tribals. There might be 5% Brahmins and 5% other caste, including might be 3-4% Dalits and the remaining other caste. Then the very problem I started facing, that it is impossible in my part to walk down every day 15 kilometers and again return 15 kilometers, around 30 kilometers. Impossible. That too, if I walk 30 kilometers, then when I will do the field work? Because we need a participant observation, we want to stay in the field because that is our subject and our domain, and we need to stay in the villages if we want to do the extensive field work. Then I started thinking that what to do, where to stay, where to get an accommodation. Then from the very beginning, when I had an interaction with the village chief, which all of you missed, and only one person raised, I'm forgetting the name. See, only the village chief, the first interaction with the village chief, what he told me, sir, be very gender sensitivity in the field. I told, yes, we are trained about that, gender sensitivity. And I asked, what do you mean by gender sensitivity in the field? He told me, sir, be very careful to the girls belongs to our community, because the moment they see somebody from outside, they try to trap them, and you will be fall in love with them, and you may get married and stay here. The second thing, what they told, if you by mistake, any insult to the girls, our community is very gender sensitive and you will be in troubles. I told, okay, I'll take care of all these things because we were trained before going to the field about all these things. We have studied lots of books on that also. See, then he told me, sir, don't accept any food, any water or anything from the girls in our community unless and until you are well established in our village. I told, sir, I'll definitely keep in my memory. Then my first and foremost difficulty started looking for an accommodation, where to stay. Impossible in my part that to completely forest regions, and the vast day I have an experience of meeting the bears. So what to do, where to stay, was really a challenge in front of me. Then I asked some of the Brahmin households because they were having little bit well-to-do houses, though they don't have a toilet and all, but they are having little bit well-to-do households. I asked them, but all of them refused to provide the accommodation to me. Do you know why they refused to give me accommodation? Can anybody?
It's a caste, maybe.
I am a Brahmin, so I approached the Brahmin caste.
So also maybe like outside.
Sorry?
So also maybe like an outsider.
Okay, outsider. The outsider, anyway, I am an outsider. So what is the problem?
Yes, sir. So they may be afraid of an outsider staying in their home.
Okay. It may not be the case of everybody. One person may fear. And I told them I'll pay you. See, the problem is being an unmarried. The problem is being an unmarried, staying in the field, because that is very serious challenge in the field also. Because as an unmarried, the people having a girl at house, they never allow you an accommodation. And even a community also never usually accept an unmarried boy to stay in the. If you're unmarried girl, they can easily accept it, but unmarried boy, don't take an other way, I'm telling the reality. But unmarried boy is having the problem of getting an accommodation in the field. So you see, that was a very serious challenge for me, no doubt. If you go to the field, the major problem you will find the caste. If you are belongs to the other caste, people will not give you the house. If you are not belongs to their caste, they will never give you a house. Even if I was belongs to the same caste and approach the same community, I was denied because I was an unmarried. So the threat of unmarriedness to the community, because they have girls at home. Anyhow, I didn't get an opportunity from them, though I was thinking that okay, their house are little bit good and they might maintain the cleanliness and all, so I may stay comfortably, and I was expecting that I may think of getting a kind of that paying guest kind of things. I can have food at their house and pay. So because I was not aware about how to cook, because I have no prior experience of cooking there. So then anyhow, I have no option. One option is being denied. Then I started looking for the other option. I moved to the other caste households. So then everywhere I was denied, and also everywhere I found that they don't have house to stay on their own because they are very poor people, and how come they will accommodate somebody else? But anyhow, fortunately I got a house, a small house, 6 feet by maybe 6 feet by 6 feet, not 6 feet by 6 feet house, very small, very small house, small like your hostel rooms, small house, hostel room kind of things, less than that. It's a small thatched house with a lower height house. No electricity, nothing. I fortunately got an opportunity to get in a house there. So I felt very happy that at least I got a house where I can stay, because I found that there is a door at least in the house and I can stay there. So but the moment I get into the house, I found that there are lots of rats are there in the house. Everywhere they dig the hole and all. But anyhow, I told them to little bit wash all these things. They clean it and then I stayed there. It is the midst of a tribal house, and the person is belongs to a tribal community. So if they offer me the house, and I told them I will pay you the 500 rupees per month. So they told, sir, no need of paying any money. You came to our village, you stay here. We have a house here, you can stay. But I told, anyhow, I'll pay you the money. Nothing to be worried about that. But anyhow, I started my journey there, and I felt fortunately happy of getting an accommodation there. But you see, initially when I started roaming in the field and all, there is, you see, anyhow, no toilets, no fuel. You have to completely depend on canals and lands. You have to go to the forest for toilets. You have to depend on the canal for taking bath. You have to depend on the canal water for cooking. And I bought a stove and started cooking there. And I don't know how to cook during the time, but whatever I cook, I just eat. And anyhow, that was not my target, and my food was not my priority. Then I was thinking that, okay, I can survive with biscuits and all, but my first priority is to do my field work and how I can finish my work and live. And the moment I start thinking, my supervisor has told me from the very beginning that you have to spend around 1.5 years. Then when initially I was thinking that this will be my place where I have to stay 1.5 years, immediately I was having a kind of fear in the minds, how to stay, and as if I am having a fever in the minds that I have to stay here in 1.5 years. But slowly and fortunately, I started establishing a good rapport with the villagers, having a good communication with the villagers, and I becomes completely part and parcel of the village. Then very good time I spent in the village, and sometimes I walk with the villagers to the market up to 15 kilometers, then I had some vegetables. If you need some vegetable, you have to go to 15 kilometers. Sometimes, but it was not possible in my part. If any villagers used to go by cycle and all, I used to tell them, sir, please bring something for me. And most of the time in the summer, whenever we sleep outside, we found that midnight, there will be somebody will shout, please enter into your house, because bear has get into the house. Bear has get into the village. Then establishing the cultural relationship with the villagers. Then if I go to the little distance village, I have to return little early, because otherwise the road is in between road is completely deserted road, it is forest roads, and there is a fear of all animals and all. So I have to walk down, or I have to ask for some cycle from somebody and go there. There are lots of other problem came, which I'll discuss the later. That but I enjoyed my field, and I spent 1.5 years in the field. But you cannot imagine my relation with those villagers is still now intact, and I always feel that as if I am a village man of that area. I am always even today I receive if somebody is having any marriage at the village, I always receive a marriage invitation from them also. That was the one experience I had. And I was having, prior to that, having another experience also in the Andhra Pradesh. When I went to my MA fieldwork, we were 30 students, along with one teacher we went. And we went to a very beautiful area that is called Arku Valley. We had a very good time. Those who are from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, they know Arku Valley. It is very excellent place, tourist place. And we had a very good time in the winter, December. We spent 1 month there. And you cannot imagine, my 29 classmates and teachers used to back every day to the school for their food, means where we used to stay. But I was the only person who never back in the noon for my food. I usually arrange my food in any tribal households. If I had food today in somebody's house, tomorrow I will have food in other house. And you see, before going to the field, starting my career as a researcher, I was having a wrong notion that the tribal households are always having they always prepare the local foods and all. And I was having a kind of thinking that they were having the kind of chicken and all, local chicken and all. Once the first day I visited one tribal households, and they told me, sir, you have food with us today. Then I was expecting that, okay, I'll get the local chicken and all in my food. They gave me some mandia and all. Then and some dal they gave. Then I was waiting for the chicken and other foods, but nothing came. Then they told me, sir, why you are sitting, why you are not eating? Then I started eating with very difficulties from the beginning. But anyhow, I started enjoying that food, and then I thought that, so if I will have food in every household every day in the village, then I can establish the rapport with the village. The villagers can develop a confidence that an outsider is having food with us in the field, and I can understand the real poverty, the real problem. I can understand that how difficult the villagers are facing, how they're fighting for a single launch in the village. Even if I was having a hesitation in the minds that if I lead, somebody maybe will remain hunger because his food I made, but still I was trying to have food with some villagers to understand their problem and at the same time establishing rapport with them. And I really enjoyed that entire 30 days. I had never had food at my place. I was having the food there. And this most similar things also happened when I was in the field for my PhD and all. I was mostly trying to get food from somebody's house, and I don't have any hesitation. Even if somebody is eating, I go and sit and eat with them, and that was my kind of through that you can develop a closeness. So what my intention of here telling is, you see, if you go to any kind of field, the first and foremost challenge in front of you is the how you are introducing yourself. Who is the people who is introducing you into the villages? I faced the similar problem from the very beginning. See, when I went to the field, I was telling that I spent some time with some NGO persons who implemented the project there. And that gives me a great cultural shock, and that gives me a great pain in the future while I am on the field. So there was a farmers meeting in that locality. In the initial stage of my research, I am telling, there is a meeting of the local farmers, that the local MPs, collector, local MLAs, sarpanch, and all big people were there in the meeting. And I, as an outsider, came. The local MP was known to me, and then because I just only established a relation with him through connection of some bureaucrats, then they also called me to come to that location. I just went there also, but you cannot imagine the moment I got a chair there to sit on the dais, there is huge resistance came from the local peoples. And I didn't understand because I am not much aware about the locality. Most of the people are not aware about me, but why there is a resistance from the local people, that why I am being given a chair in the field, on the dais. Then some of them they shouted and all. Do you know what exactly the problem? Because I was being introduced to the community by that NGO who implemented the project in that locality, and the peoples were highly dissatisfied with that NGO which implemented the project in that locality. And there was a kind of conception is being developed in the minds of the people that I might be keeping my identity in a hidden mode, that I am the person belongs to that NGO who, because these two guys who were implementing the project might have left this location because of fear from the public, and they have sent me to be here and to work on behalf of them. So that's why the anger is mounted in the minds of the people, and then I was asking that what the mistake I have done. The local people shouted and told to the local MPs and collector that he is an agent of that NGO and he has come here. See, then you cannot imagine. Then I personally told the people that my staying here for last 15 days, I found that they are the problem, and even I started speaking against the local NGO and all. Very politically you have to speak, otherwise you will be in trouble. Very technically you have to speak, otherwise you will be in trouble. You cannot speak completely against the NGO. You cannot completely speak against the local administration. You completely cannot take the favoritism of the local peoples. So, and I felt that my presence in that, on that occasion, helped me in doing my work very comfortably, because otherwise it could have developed a wrong notion in the minds of the villagers that I might be part of that organizations. How many people I could have convinced, but there, with the help of local administration, I convinced the villagers that yes, this is my identity. My identity is something different. I face the difficulties of looking for an accommodation. They come in contact with me. It is not that I went with them, and I am completely unaware about them, and I don't know them. I only came to know them just 10 days back, not the earlier to that my field work. So what I'm telling, the first and foremost problem we face in the field, that how you are introducing yourself into the villagers. Who is introducing you into the villagers? So because the person who is introducing you to the villagers should be well accepted by the villagers, because if a person who is not acceptable by the villagers, if they introduce you, then you will be in troubles. So the second and another problem, I'll tell one of my from another experience, which difficulty you may face from the very beginning. See, within 2 minutes I'll stop there, so that in the next class we can discuss more details. So when I was doing my MPhil, I was doing MPhil in my own districts, where I was working on agriculture and Indian caste and agriculture, modernization in Indian agriculture and caste and all. So I was working that, and when I went, that was not a non-tribal area, that was a completely caste-based area, not the tribal-based area. I was looking for a house, and with a very difficulty I got a house, and the house is around 300-400 distance from the village, and it is completely in the very beginning of the village, which is no connection of the villagers. So with a very difficulty, I got a kind of electricity connection to that house to stay there. Otherwise, very difficult to stay without any kind of electricity connection and all, and that too in a very completely detached village. And so there, and the night I just went around 2 kilometers. I walked down to have food in the NH National Highway. It is just 2 kilometers away from the National Highway. I just went to the some dhaba and had food and coming back. Then while I am coming back from the dhaba and all, I met some of the people on the way, and we had an interaction, and they told me what for you are here, what you are doing, where you are staying and all. The moment I told that I am staying in so and so house, then they started talking within themselves. How come he's staying? Somebody had committed suicide in so and so years back. Nobody was staying in this house till this period, and this, how come this small boy will stay there? See, and fortunately, no, unfortunately, the moment somebody told, the fear increased in your mind. Then when I back, I have already developed a fear. Till that I was not having any fear. Honestly, the two people while interacting, they created a fear in my mind. And unfortunately, that day the power gone at the night, and it started the heavy rainfall. And I struggled a lot with my thoughts to survive. At the moment the morning comes, I left the house, back my home. Then again I went and started searching the another house. What I'm telling, lots of difficulties will come in the field, and how you are overcoming them, because the moment you leave, you are defeated. So that's why the field, I'll tell, there are so many things which we'll discuss, and how to establish rapport, how to overcome different kind of problems, and what are the problems you'll face. All these things I'll tell you. I just told you a kind of cases, and then step by step we'll discuss in details tomorrow. I'll take it and we'll discuss details in tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.